right. Welcome to the first ever Plugged In with Caraway. So, welcome to our first podcast. We're joined today by Teresa, Ross, and Scarlett. I didn't get your last name. I forgot to ask you that. What's your last name?
Mohr.
Scarlett Mohr. All right. Teresa and Scarlett are with the NEMO Senior Citizens Services Center here in Kirksville. Is that correct?
Correct.
They run the nutrition site, and I'm going to endeavor to do as little talking as possible during this, because the whole idea of this is to learn and let them tell us about not only what they do, but tell us about their challenges with their programs as it relates, hopefully, to state government, local government. But also maybe talk about ideas about what can be done to make things better. So that's where we're going to start. And right off the bat, why don't you guys tell me about how long you've been doing this and kind of the origins of the programs?
I have been with NEMO Senior Citizens Services about 18 months, and we have been in the community for over 50 years. So very familiar with just the Kirksville community. We have offered services in a variety of ways, and to our senior population. We recently have moved out to our new location in July, so it'll be a year there. We've had to pivot a lot. We've had a lot of things come up, but all of that change, and it's been good growth. So we hope that we can kind of keep going and endure the next few months and year.
Cool. Very cool. The new location is really nice. I've been there a couple of different times. I was there for your one of your grand openings, at least for the nutrition site. So, and I know you're getting ready to make a big move, right?
Yes.
And Scarlett, you're getting ready to take over, right?
I am.
So you're looking forward to that?
I am.
All right. Kind of tell me what's involved in all that, and do you have big plans? Are things going to stay about the same?
They should just keep moving along and see how things progress, and try to get some funds coming in for this home delivered program, and see if we can't.
Well, and that kind of leads to a question that we've already talked about a lot in our own private conversations, right? So, and it's kind of the crux of one of the reasons we wanted to do this. The nutrition site, let's talk about how that works.
Sure.
Okay. Let's just dive right into that. So let's start by telling folks exactly how that works. You guys provide a lot of meals to a lot of people every week, and these are fresh cooked meals, right? Go ahead and tell me some details about that.
So every day we serve about 90 meals that are delivered out to people's homes, and these are geared towards folks that are homebound. And so when I say homebound, these are people that just cannot get out of their house. So we considered homebound like going to the grocery store, the doctors, or I think there's another requirement, but basically 3 areas that kind of keep you from living the lifestyle that you want, and over 60. So if you have those things, then we would be willing to help you or able to help you.
Right.
And then we also have Medicaid meals, and those are meals that the state is willing to kind of pay for those services, and they reimburse us for those meals. The regular home delivered meals is a voluntary contribution of $5, and we never turn anybody away for that $5. So a lot of times there's folks who might not, due to a fixed income, might not be able to pay for those meals. So on any given month, we have what's called program income. So those voluntary contributions fall into that program income. So we should have roughly about 6,000 or 7,000. So like last month, we had about $2,400 in program income. And then we delivered about $5,000 worth of meals. So at the cost of those meals, and we have vendors. We have 3 vendors that we use. We use Kohl's and Graves and Prairie Farms. And so as anybody knows, the cost of those of our food bills are run from 6,000 to 10,000 monthly.
Right.
So there's a lot of moving pieces to this, and it's just kind of a game every month. It's a very fluid situation.
Sure.
And since we've moved out to the nutrition site, our congregate has really kind of helped us to kind of stay active and afloat, you might say. At our old location at the village, we, on a good day, we maybe had 20 people. Now, in our congregate setting, we have 20 to 50. So it has blossomed and done fantastic. But in the meantime, we have this home delivered program that we're just really struggling with, and getting people to understand that, you know, we understand that we want to be here for those people who cannot pay or are on a fixed income. But for those folks who are willing, we sure appreciate those donations.
Sure. And which part of that formula of that program, which section of that program is, because obviously one of the things we've talked about is that's running at a deficit, correct? Mm-hmm. So which part of that program, or is there a particular part of that program that is falling short? Is there one part of it, or is it a combination across the board? That you understand what I'm asking? I may not be asking it properly, but is there one particular area that's falling short, or is it a kind of a congregate across the board where the numbers need to be higher?
So congregate is taking care of itself. We don't worry about it anymore. So we get money, federal money from OAA, Older Americans Act.
Okay.
That comes from AAA, and then it comes in from us. And so we're allotted a certain amount every July. Our contract starts. So once we use all that money up, then we're kind of on our own to make every month count. So, and that's why congregate is doing okay, is we've not used any of our contract money because we've had such success in that. So we've had to use all of our home delivered money, and now we're down to nothing. And so when people say, "Hey, I'd like to get on home delivered meals," well, we're kind of out of money until our contract rolls around and renews all of that, and we'll see what we're dealing with. But it's the same with any government agency, is that we have to kind of like plan things out a little bit, and the fiscal budget, what that's going to look like, if we're going to get cut. We have no idea. We're still waiting to hear what that budget's going to look like, what that contract is going to look like.
Okay, and that's pretty rocky right now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So, given that's how that works, and I think you already probably answered this to me off microphone here. What is the total capability of the building? Like on any given day, in-house, people walking in to come in and have a meal. And I know that the times run, you start at 11?
10:30.
So 10:30 to 1?
To 12:30.
To 12:30. Okay. How about how many at one time can you have in that dining room area?
I don't know what maximum capacity is. I'd probably say 50.
Comfortably.
Okay.
Yeah. 50.
Around 50.
comfortably,
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously one of the ideas, and we'll go ahead and jump into this now. We may be going a little out of order, but let's go ahead and jump into this. One of the ideas we've talked about that we're going to pursue this week, okay, is what we're calling a lunch takeover. So my campaign group is going to pursue this on Thursday of this week. And we're going to be sending out a challenge letter today, along with information to a whole bunch of people, different groups here in town. And I just realized we're going to have to change our times because we were thinking, I think our times were 11 to 1. So we need to adjust that 10:30 to, you said 12:30, right?
Yeah. But I will also mention that our sweet spot is about 11:30.
Okay.
So that seems to catch a lot of people.
So we need to change that. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to challenge people because the 60 years old is the cutoff, right? So if you're 60 and older, it's $4 or $5. Okay. And if you're under that, then the normal suggested donation is $8, right?
Well, it's not suggested.
Well, you have to do that, right?
Well, it's $8. I mean, you
just come in and pay $8.
Right.
What we're going to do is we're going to ask people to come in and pay with a minimum of a $20 bill. Okay, and the reason we're doing that is because if you think about it, let's say that Angela and I, my wife and I, go out and eat lunch. Okay, anywhere. Just normally go out and eat lunch. If we go out and pay for lunch for the two of us, we're going to spend probably $36. Even if it's a fast food anymore, it's going to cost $36. The idea being that we would rather see that money go one day, at least one day a month, to this program. And the food's good anyway. I've not had it, but I've heard it time and time again. I'm sure it is. And I know even my dad's gone. So the whole idea is, and it really has nothing to do with my campaign. The idea is that we're going to challenge people to do this with the idea that we're going to try and get them to adopt a day a month. Okay, now I don't know if this will work or not, but that's the idea. So whether it's the realtors here in town, whether it's Rotary or the Optimist Club or whoever, we're going to send out this letter, and I have a letter crafted, and we're going to send out this letter with this outlining this idea, and we're going to challenge these groups to pick this up and do this. Now, for some reason, initially I thought maybe that room was bigger than that. I thought maybe my idea was to put 100 people in there. And we can't do that, obviously. I think filling your room is going to be much easier one day a month.
When we had Thanksgiving and Christmas, those are really popular dinners, and we had to kind of move people along, and I think it was well over 100 people those days.
Well, see, that's the whole idea. I think if we stagger it, we may have to come up with a system where we're getting people to, kind of sign up for a slot, early slot, late slot kind of thing. But if they do that, once again, then my next worry we talked about, we don't want to displace your normal people that are coming in. So, I don't want to, in the name of trying to raise money, take up spots where people need to come in and use it. So we'll give it a try and see how it works. And if it helps you guys out, then, we'll try anything we can to continue to help. But I think it will work. Because I think once people learn about what you're doing and see the facility, I think they'll support it. Because I just don't think enough people know what's going on there. I run into people, and I guess it's a function of me going out, running around campaigning and talking to people. And, every once in a while I'll run into somebody and they'll say, hey, I saw you on this post. What was that? And then I'll start talking to them about it and explain it to them. And they're like, well, I didn't even know that was there. And it's like, well, yeah, you need to go visit that place. And, there are similar things in other communities, but a lot of them are in trouble. Mm-hmm. There's a few, I think, that are starting to get it together. But, since I've known your guys, the situation here, I've tried to seek out the ones in other places. And it's my intention to visit all of them if I can.
That's good because it gives you perspective. But also, I think that they're asking us to do more with a lot less. Right. So, and I think originally when the nutrition sites were put in place, it was a great idea. But I don't think was a lot of forethought in terms of how to take those funds and then invest them when fundraising and donations and grants were put in place.
Sure.
So a good plan moving forward was not always on the table.
Sure. Well, and there has to be a good mix, right, between, community support and then something to start with from the state, right? Yeah. And that's the next question, okay? So obviously you have some support from the state, but what you tell me about that? Let's talk about that for a minute. What is that support? And I'm assuming it falls short. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have some folks that are receiving Medicaid meals, and those are all through the state. And once you get services, then, they see how eligible you are, and they deem that, hey, you need this many units a month. And then we keep track of that. We turn that in as a report, and then we get paid for those meals. Right. And then that's kind of how we handle that. But all of those meals are then home delivered meals as well. Those folks already have a lot of things going on, and they're assessed pretty regularly, and those meals change, so we have to kind of really stay on top of those. And then Scarlett also has the Medicaid portion of in-home, and we want to be able to help those folks, but oftentimes it's follow-up and good communication, and making sure that everybody understands what needs to happen and how to help those folks.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier, so what is the proportion between Medicaid and Medicare? Do you have both, right? Are you dealing with both, or is it just Medicaid?
Just Medicaid.
Just Medicaid. Okay.
Well, which is 63 and older.
Okay.
So, and Scarlett can kind of speak to this.
Well, and let's go ahead and let's jump into the in-home side of things. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So, obviously beyond the meal delivery part of it, I assume you guys are doing standard in-home, like personal care.
We have an in-home program. We have 10 in-home aides that go into the home. If the client has Medicaid, Medicaid takes care of that. It's called Home and Community-Based Services. Uh-huh. So that is billed through Medicaid. Medicaid takes care of that, assigns the units. And if you do not already have that service, you would call your Medicaid provider and just tell them that you would like that for a service, and they will assess that, come into the home, and then just make sure you tell them that you want NEMO as your provider, as your in-home provider. Otherwise, they will assign someone else. So if you've seen us or you've had someone else that's had NEMO and are happy with their services, make sure you request NEMO for your provider. If you do not have Medicaid, then there's also the same type of funding backed by the federal, backed by AAA. So it's $8 an hour suggested donation that we get, and then the rest of that is backed by AAA. And then the girls can go in, they can do personal care, they can do homemaker chores, or they can do family care respite.
Okay.
So those are the 3 types of service. Or there's always the private pay option, where you can just hire us to do the private pay, and we can come in and do that if you do not qualify for any of the other types.
I see.
So there's different types, but
Well, I mean, those are all, obviously very needed services. There's always seems to me like there's a shortage of providers for that. So, in a situation like this where you can kind of mold it into, a provider that offers a lot of other services, you have a big advantage. And obviously my background, I deal with a lot of that. So you start talking my language, at least, as far as the software it goes to run that, is concerned. I have a lot of experience, but I think it's fantastic. So as far as money goes on that side of the program, are you guys, able to maintain a comfortable level funding wise, or you tell me about where you're at on that? I mean, is the return for your service acceptable, or do you feel like, the funding should be higher?
well, just like with the meals, we're almost to the end of that contract year. So when the year's up and July is here again, that will renew that contract. So right now, as far as new sign-ons, that's pretty. We're just pretty much filling out the end of that contract. We'll be doing new assessments, new sign-ons, and everything come the 1st of July. Medicaid, again, Medicaid's a whole different ballgame there. If you want to sign up with that, you pretty much take that up with your Medicaid.
So are you guys getting an administrative fee at least back off of your billing, or is it just paying for the aids? That's really all it's paying for.
Yeah.
With
like on your in-home, like when you send somebody out to do personal care, respite, homemaker chore, the per unit fee that's coming back, that's all that's paying for is just their services. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Medicaid, state's not giving you any additional money for maintaining your program at all. Okay. It's too bad. Okay. Well, I mean, I find all this very enlightening, and I appreciate you guys doing this, because I think that everybody who listens to this will find it the same way. So, the whole point of doing this is to get the information out there to people who normally would never hear this. That's the whole idea behind putting these little things together, have a conversation, and then be able to put it in front of a whole bunch of people. Because, these are things that, like, Teresa and I have talked about, maybe you and I have talked about a little bit of this, but nobody would hear this if we didn't do it this way. Maybe I talked to a few people, you talked to a few people, but we couldn't put it in front of a whole bunch of people. So, I really appreciate you guys doing this. And you guys have any other questions? Or
I also feel like until you are in this situation with your parents or a loved one, you really don't pay attention to this until you're kind of like, oh, wait, where do we turn? And I don't understand Medicaid. And how is this like what? Yep. And Scarlett does some private pay of going into the home. And so they want to see how that works with insurance. And so there's all of these moving parts. And yes, it's confusing, but it's really important that people take the time to understand what resources are in your own community, so you're not faced in a situation where you have to hurry up and make a decision when mom's coming home from the nursing home and your Medicaid, or you don't have Medicaid, you just have Medicare. What does that pay for? So,
well, and so many times people, I think, feel like they're backed into a corner. So they're in the hospital and they've been presented with like XYZ, and there may be a bunch of other options that they just, like you said, don't know about. And they may be better options, but they've never heard of them before. And it a lot of times really isn't in the best interest of the people that are presenting them with XYZ to present them with the other options. So they're not going to hear about them unless they either have done their own research or have heard about it somewhere else. And a lot of people, frankly, I think are afraid to ask. They're afraid to go and ask the questions. And so, like you said, I've been in that situation. I know you have. But we've also been in this field. So it's a little easier, okay? And I'm not afraid to go ask those questions. But I understand some people are.
Well, and I think, and Scarlett can kind of speak to this too, I think that's the importance that, one, we've been in the community for over 50 years, but two, we've established relationships with not only partners, but with the people that we serve, and they feel like we're family and that they trust us. And so that the people going into their homes, they'll call us and tell us of a situation. Well, we didn't know that. We'll take care of it. So there's a whole trust factor there. And when our drivers are out delivering the meals, a lot of times it is I wouldn't say a wellness check, but we are having a face-to-face dropping off the meal contact with them.
Sure.
So that's very important when your family lives out of state, and you sometimes might rely on organizations like us to take care of your family.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and so this is taking care of the elderly is a growing population. It's something that's just expanding. So if we're grateful to get there, and we just want to make sure that everybody understands that our mission is to help them stay in their homes,
right,
and be independent.
That results in happy people.
Exactly.
You are having good quality of life, which is one of the most important things out there. And if you've ever had an elderly family member at that, where you've had to help them, then you know exactly what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So, well, like I said, once again, guys, I really appreciate you being here. I really do.
Well, thank you for taking the time to let us explain all of this, because, there's just so many things out there and you hear things. And so make sure to check us out on Facebook, NEMO Senior Citizens .org, and our website. We always post our menu and our calendar of events. We always have things going on in May. So that's the other component of this, is that connection, how people are coming out to our center, and people that they haven't seen each other in years.
Well, and describe where the new center is. Give them some directions.
Sure. It's 2815 North Baltimore, Suite D. We're all the way at the west end. So Connections Bank, Heritage House, we're that little strip of businesses or suites. And we... lost my train of thought.
We have several activities, things on the calendar. The center's open all afternoon. Different people have been playing cards. Even we have cards and bingo alternating Fridays, but we've had like a group of women played bridge one day, but the center's open all afternoon. Use it as a activity center. That's what it's for.
That's awesome.
There's puzzles set out, play cards, do whatever. Use it as, there's books there to take out, check out. So just use it as an event center, as a community center type atmosphere.
Fantastic.
So even if your organization hasn't been out there, we're always open to the idea of having people come out and present. Like, we're partners with the Health Council. Well, they've been out. They come out twice a month. and present on DPOA or Medicare and what you need to know, just all of these really important topics. So, and healthy green tea to grapefruit, what you should take and can't take with your medications.
Cool.
All these questions that you want to ask, but you don't have a pharmacist sometimes at your disposal. So this is our attempt to bring people in, to educate them. So if you have a group or organization that you feel like would really benefit to come out and present, give us a call.
Excellent.
You'll find the events on the back of the menu.
Yeah, like you said, the website's really easy to find.
It is.
So, all right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll look for the lunch takeover this Thursday. And I'll be sending stuff out all over. It'll be on Facebook. And I don't know if we're going to have it on the website or not, but it will definitely be all over Facebook.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
Teresa, Scarlett, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. This concludes podcast number 1.